Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody who feels lonely or struggling, him or herself as a freelancer, and sees or hears that on a Spotify or any other channel, what would you suggest? What should she? It's a lot of she's also in your countries, right? Who work as freelancers, or he? What what should they do as a first step? Where can they find such a community? Because many of them are not self-confident enough to reach out to big communities, right? So what could they do?
Okay. Some of them are not making the most of the community, but I think not just the community that is important, but also having a coach.
Okay, welcome everyone to episode number 17 of the TEC-ONE Stories, my podcast about interesting stories of freelancers and solopreneurs. And I'm happy that you are here again. And today I have a very interesting guest. It's Dewi Soemanagara. I hope I spelled it right. I practiced it before. It's a hard name for me, but I know the people have also problems with my name, typically because I have this German name. But yeah, I'm very happy that you are here and you are a freelancer and solopreneur since years, and you are also a coach and mentor for virtual assistants. But yeah, let me know your story. Let me know more about you and also the audience. And why did you start to work as a freelancer in Indonesia?
Okay, okay. First of all, thank you, Werner, for the opportunity. I'm so happy to be part of this TEC-ONE podcast. My name is Dewi from Indonesia, and to be honest, I started my freelance journey right after I graduated from college around 2015. So 1 year after I graduated, I became a journalist for the Ministry of Education in my country. And then on 2015, I take a postgraduate school. And then back then, I freelance as an article writer, proofreader, and content planner for a vitamin brand. So I have always loved remote working since I became a journalist. The flexibility it gives me means I can literally work from anywhere with my laptop, like from cafes, train stations, even inside a car during road trips. So as long as we have an internet connection, we're good to go. Yeah.
So it's the flexibility why you started to do that. And are you also working in other countries or just in other places in your own country?
I work remotely for a few countries. Previously, I was a research assistant for a postgraduate study in Malaysia. I also work with a few clients internationally from Singapore and also from the USA. Yeah.
So you work international from your home base, but you're flexible. You can organize your own time schedule, and this is also family friendly and a good work-life balance, isn't it? So what is the best advantage or the most advantage of being a freelancer?
For me, of course, the flexibility. I really value my time and my energy, especially for my family. And I have a personal story for this. Actually, personal reason for me, why I want to become a freelancer is when I became a caregiver for my grandmother who has dementia, and she was undergo intense therapy for her cancer treatment. So at that time, I was the only family member who can take care of her. So I think I cannot do a office full-time work, like 9 to 5 in a cubicle, in a like monotone, and I don't have so much time left for my family. So then I think why I'm not become a freelancer. So then I think, of course, such tragedy brought light to me, and then I realized it's not impossible to do remote work as a freelancer. And of course, in here, freelancing is still considered as a profession with low income, very low income, not enough to pay bills and to put food on the table. But I think with certain strategies and the right methods, of course, we can make a proper or even two-digit income from freelancing. So I think it's a matter of perspectives and also finding the right path, executing the right steps as a freelancer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people think it's a low income, but it can be even more income than if you are working in a company and it's your own income, right? And it's just a matter of of the perspective and of your clients. And you're also a role model for this in your country, right? So you have also other people which learn from you. How did that start?
Yeah, okay. So back then, last year on 2023, I enrolled in a virtual assistant course, online course for a month. And then I worked really hard. I learned really hard. And then I become one of the student advisor there. And I guide around hundreds of students from Indonesia and also from Singapore and Malaysia, around Southeast Asia. And I think that's the starting point for me as a real virtual assistant after I freelancing for almost a decade. Yeah.
Yeah. So that means as soon as you started teaching or mentoring, it also boosted your own business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this is also what I experienced as a university professor. The best things I learned was as a professor and not as a student. Is that also the case for you? What experience do you have with your own students or with your own mentees?
The experiences, I think when I become a student advisor, my student often ask me so many things, not just related with course materials or how to do the task, how to find the clients, but also about their personal life. So many of them are not trust in themselves, having lack of confidence, like mental blocks, insecurities, imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, and so forth. So I think if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. But unfortunately, for some of my students, they are struggling with their mindset, of, particularly for a housewife or a person with so many years of career gaps. So I think if I want to guide them, I have to, like set their mindset right, like with mind framing. So then, of course, they will think more positively and have more optimistic approach towards their new VA journey. Yeah.
Okay, so that means it's not only technical skills you teach, it's mainly also personal skills and self-confidence and working with them. Do you also work with them in teams or communities? What do you think about having networks? Because I see a lot of freelancers are still lonely and think they need to struggle alone. Also Upwork and Fiverr and all these platforms, they struggle alone. But you be a mentor for them and helping them to have a group or a community, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think having a community is very important. I don't realize this since last year when I joined the course, and then I have a very big community with a solid support system and very welcoming members and so forth. Because for a few years back then, when I was still freelancing by my own, I was feeling so lonely, clueless, and like what I want to do next. I don't have any clues. I don't have any support. I do everything by myself. So then when I entered the community, we have a very solid support system. We share information and knowledge and like webinar or something or job vacancy. So I think not just for the work itself, but also for personal skills and self-development. So I think having a community is very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody who feels lonely or struggling, him or herself as a freelancer, and sees or hears that on a Spotify or any other channel, what would you suggest? What should she? It's a lot of she's also in your countries, right? Who work as freelancers, or he? What what should they do as a first step? Where can they find such a community? Because many of them are not self-confident enough to reach out to big communities, right? So what could they do?
Okay. Some of them are not making the most of the community, but I think not just the community that is important, but also having a coach. So for a few years, I was not a believer in coaching. I used to think that having a coaching session or a coach is a waste of time and money. It will not make a huge difference. It's just overrated. But then I worked with my mental health coach a few years back then, and then I found a few mentors and coach and so forth. And I think things changed when I really work with my coach. So not only community, but also find the suitable coach for you. That is important.
Yeah, this is also, I wrote a post today, and this is, I think, what is a really good suggest to start with 1 or 2 people, right? And not always think about the big next step. I need to post for hundreds of people, or I need to be in a community of hundreds of people, but start with 1 or 2, with one coach, maybe offline or online. So what is your experience with online coaching and offline coaching? So what is the advantage and the disadvantage of both?
Okay. I personally prefer online coaching because I can like adjust my time and my schedule more flexible, and I also can learn from a coach from around the world, not just in my country or in my town. So I think I prefer online coaching, and I also think that we don't have to spend so many times coaching. We can do like a short a coaching session as long as it's insightful and you find the right or the suitable coach for you that really knows what you are going through and really experienced in their field, who can really guide us. So I think, yeah, I prefer online coach very much rather than offline coach.
Yeah, interesting. I think that there are different people, yeah, but I think online coaching is really it's coming up, and more people search for online coaching. Yeah, that's very interesting. But what is a good coach for you?
Okay. A good coach for me is not just someone who tells me what to do, but they also people who like guide me with their hearts and sincerely support me along the way. So I don't need just an advice or like formula of A B C D and so forth, but I really need a coach who can understands me as a person and then personalize the coaching session itself based on the personality. I think that's crucial because not everyone will have the same or the similar approach. Everybody has their own uniqueness. So I really need and I prefer a coach who can understand that and can guide me with a unique way that only suits with me, not with anybody else. Yeah.
So it's a personal relationship, and it's also you need to resonate with the coach. So it might be that one coach is good for one person, but not for somebody else, right? So it really, you need to find this fit. Yeah, I also see that. Yeah, we talked also about online work. You told me that you like remote work and online work. But what obstacles did you see, or do you have a story for us where maybe it didn't work at the first time, or what you can share with the audience, what we need to take care of?
Okay. The most challenging part as a freelancer for me is definitely time management. As a freelancer, we often feel overwhelmed with everything else, with the task, with the clients, with the family dynamics, perhaps, and daily life. And because we have those flexibility, it comes with consequences. So we get our free wills, our free time, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily free. We have to like plot the time effectively. And I think the next problem is how to manage burnout, how to manage the stress, because the stress is very real. Sometimes it can be more intense than working in a corporate or a company or a full-time job. So that's two main issues that most challenging for me as a virtual assistant and freelancer.
Yeah, how do you manage this? Because you still have also the time zone, so you're not in the time zone of US, of Europe. A lot of clients, I guess, are in other time zones. So I know that also because we worked also together for some time. So how do you manage all this? Because sometimes you have to work really late, but do you take time off then during the day, or how do you make that?
Yeah, of course, taking some time off, particularly before the session or before the meetings or before the, doing the task, finishing the deadlines. I think power nap is the key. I really love like power nap for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It really make a huge difference. So when we have this session around midnight in my time zone, I don't feel like too drowsy or something. So I think, yeah. power nap,
Good.
and also taking
Okay.
care of yourself. Yeah, really listen to
Great.
what at the moment. Yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And also healthy life, right? There are coaches also on LinkedIn. They support this healthy life, not to eat sweets and sweet drinks all the time, right? And
Yeah.
so on. Yeah. That this help. But are you also sometimes confused about the time zones? This happens to me, particularly if there's this daylight savings and then all. I mean, you can use Google, of course, but sometimes it still happens that I'm in a meeting and my partner is in the meeting 1 hour later or 1 hour before. Did you also experience that already?
Yeah, I experienced that when I forgot that which time zone my client really is. So when I Googled it, it seems wrong. It's wrong. It's another different time zone. So I think, yeah, that's when I already in the Zoom and they are not coming yet, something like that. But we can manage it. I think with determination and also the strategy, that's not a huge problem. I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, of course, but this I think this happened to all of us once when we work online, that we are in a room and nobody's there, and we need to find out why this happened.
And
Despite all these tools, I mean, there's so much software today; it helps us, but still, this happens. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So still, you have a lot of virtual assistants and people you mentor. How can you manage this? Because you told us before, these are also personal stories and it's their personal life sometimes. So how do you manage all this yeah, personal stories and sometimes maybe also difficult stories? I guess. Do you have somebody where you can talk with this? Or do you have a mentor for this or supervision or something like that?
Okay. Okay. I think I have my best friend for my venting venting spaces, but I also work with one wonderful coach at the moment who can really guides me through and through. So again, I cannot emphasize this enough to find a suitable coach for us as a freelancer. And it's a very important not just have a community, but also the coach that resonates with you and like one frequency with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what you do and what you do also for the people in your country and in your region, because I think many people need that kind of job, right? It's a good chance for them, but they need also to know how to do it, because I see a lot of people in LinkedIn and in the internet who need guidance for that. And if you don't have the personal guidance by people who already did it, that's really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly.
yeah, so it's an amazing job you're doing. So if you need help, and if you hear that or listen to that on the podcast, reach out to Devi. She's on LinkedIn, she's on Instagram, she's everywhere. I think mainly on Instagram also, right? So
Yeah.
you're an expert in this. I don't know a lot about Instagram, but if you need support in this, reach out to Devi, and yeah, come in touch with her. She's a wonderful person, and I'm really happy that I know her. Thank you that you are in this interview and in this session today and shared your story with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
yeah, and if you want to have or listen to other stories and do not want to miss any of these stories, please subscribe to this channel or reach out to me and we stay in touch. I have also a newsletter from TEC-ONE about the 12 Week Challenge. I have this channel on YouTube and all the other podcast channels. So please do not forget to subscribe and reach out to me. Thank you very much and see you all soon.